Imagine if you were given $100 billion and a blank slate to design the perfect city for humanity 50 years from now. What would you do? This might sound like the daydream of a wild Silicon Valley CEO, but in China, this dream is becoming a reality on an unprecedented scale. On the North China Plain, 100 kilometers from Beijing, the ultimate experiment in the future of human habitation is unfolding, the Xiong'an New Area. This is not just another real estate project. It is a complete subversion of the traditional urban model, a $93 billion civilizational gamble. Why spend an astronomical sum to build an entirely new city? The answer lies hidden in the painful groans of the behemoth that is Beijing. This megacity of 22 million people is enduring the extreme limits of the modern urban development model. The data is shocking. Beijing residents spend an average of 56 minutes commuting each day, equivalent to losing 138 hours of their lives each year. The housing price-to-income ratio once soared to 25:1, far exceeding the international warning line of 3-6:1. Even with hundreds of billions invested in governance, the air quality index frequently spikes, shrouding the ancient capital in a gray haze. But Beijing's plight is by no means unique. Across the globe, from Tokyo's groper-filled trains and New York's subway rats to London's sky-high rents and Mumbai's slums, every megacity is interpreting the harsh reality of urban disease in its own way. According to United Nations data, 68% of the world's population will live in cities by 2050, with an additional 2.5 billion new urban dwellers. If we continue to follow the 20th century model of urban development, what awaits humanity is a doomsday scenario of resource depletion, environmental collapse, and social fragmentation. The location of Xiong'an is itself a puzzle. Of this 1,770 square kilometer area, 70% was once wetlands, farmland, and small villages. The low-lying terrain is prone to flooding, making it almost wasteland in the eyes of traditional developers. But it is precisely this nothingness that has become Xiong'an's greatest advantage, a truly blank slate. By comparing it with the development history of Silicon Valley, we can better understand the revolutionary nature of the Xiong'an model. It took Silicon Valley 70 years to gradually evolve from California's fruit orchards into a global technology hub, a bottom-up, organic growth process. Xiong'an, in contrast, is attempting to leap directly to a future city form within 10-20 years through top-down systemic design. This leapfrog development is not a fantasy. South Korea jumped from an agricultural nation to a developed country in 30 years, and China created the largest-scale urbanization miracle in human history in 40 years. Xiong'an's ambition is, can we create the urban standard for the next century within a single generation? Step into Xiong'an, and you will find that every inch of land here has been digitized. More than 5 million sensors are densely distributed throughout the city, monitoring everything from air quality to underground pipe networks in real time. The city has a digital twin that is perfectly synchronized with the physical world, a virtual Xiong'an that exists in the cloud. What does this mean? Imagine that when you leave home in the morning, the city's brain has already analyzed the traffic flow across the entire city and planned the optimal route for you. When a tiny crack appears in an underground pipe, the AI system automatically dispatches a repair team before the problem worsens. When air quality declines, smart buildings automatically adjust their ventilation systems, and misting devices in parks activate to purify the air. Even more stunning is Xiong'an's subterranean world. Asia's largest underground utility tunnel system has been built here, with a total length of over 1,000 kilometers, equivalent to the distance from Beijing to Shanghai. All utility lines, electricity, communications, water supply, heating, and gas are neatly housed underground, completely bidding farewell to the urban landscape of zipper roads and spiderweb overhead cables. If intelligence is Xiong'an's brain, then ecology is its heart. 70% of the city's area is planned as blue-green space, with a green coverage rate of 50%, far exceeding the 6% of Manhattan occupied by New York's Central Park. Beijing, the largest freshwater lake on the North China Plain, is undergoing the most extensive ecological restoration in its history. In the past, due to pollution and overdevelopment, Baiyangdian once faced the crisis of drying up. Today, by introducing clean water from the South to North Water Diversion Project and implementing strict pollution controls, Baiyangdian has been revitalized, becoming the kidney of the city. In terms of its energy structure, Xiong'an is even more radical. Coal is banned here, with extensive use of clean energy sources such as geothermal, solar, and wind power. The goal is to achieve carbon neutrality by 2035, 25 years ahead of China's national target. This is not just a reflection of environmental philosophy, but also China's response to the global challenge of climate change. Perhaps the most disruptive concept in Xiong'an is its redefinition of distance. There are no central business districts crowded with skyscrapers, no cookie-cutter residential compounds. Instead, there is the 15-minute living circle, the ability to meet all daily needs, including work, housing, education, healthcare, shopping, and entertainment, within a 15-minute walk or bike ride. This design philosophy stems from a deep understanding of human nature. Studies show that when commuting time exceeds 45 minutes, a person's sense of well-being significantly declines. When a community lacks walkable public spaces, neighborhood relationships become indifferent. Xiong'an attempts to rebuild the warm connections between people and the city through spatial design. Building heights are strictly limited to under 45 meters, equivalent to 15 stories, ensuring that everyone can see the sky and the distant mountains. Street design prioritizes pedestrians and cyclists over cars. A large number of pocket parks and community gardens are interspersed throughout, making green the dominant color of the city. The soul of a city lies in its industry. Xiong'an's industrial positioning is extremely clear. High-end and cutting-edge fields that represent the future, such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, new energy, new materials, and aerospace information. To attract these industries of the future, Xiong'an has offered the most generous terms in history. A corporate income tax rate reduced to 15%, a personal income tax reduction of up to 40% for high-end talent, land costs at only 1/10 of Beijing's, and an approval process compressed to within 30 days. More importantly, the relocation of numerous central state-owned enterprise headquarters, top universities, and scientific research institutes has injected Xiong'an with an initial pool of high-end talent and innovation resources. State-owned giants like China Telecom and Sinopec have confirmed their move to Xiong'an. Top-tier institutions like Tsinghua University and Peking University are also establishing branch campuses or research institutes here. This resource allocation capability, driven by a whole-of-nation system, is a unique advantage that is difficult for other countries to replicate. Xiong'an is not the world's only future city experiment. South Korea's Songdo International Business District, a $40 billion investment, aims to be the financial hub of Northeast Asia. The UAE's Masdar city is committed to becoming the world's first zero-carbon city. Saudi Arabia's NEOM project is an even more extravagant $500 billion venture to build a 170-kilometer-long, linear city in the desert. But the fates of these projects have varied. Although Songdo has perfect infrastructure, its occupancy rate has long been sluggish, earning it criticism as a soulless smart city. Masdar City's zero-carbon goal has been repeatedly postponed, and its population is far from reaching projections. NEOM's surreal design has been met with considerable skepticism, often described as a mirage in the desert. In comparison, Xiong'an possesses several key advantages: strong government execution, a vast hinterland market, and systematic national strategic support. But these strengths are accompanied by risks. Over-reliance on administrative power could lead to a lack of endogenous dynamism. Perfect planning might stifle the city's natural evolution, and political risks and cost-effectiveness issues cannot be ignored. Today, Xiong'an is in a critical adolescence. The Xiong'an high-speed railway station is already in operation, offering a 50-minute direct link to Beijing. The infrastructure in the core area is largely complete, and the first batch of residents has moved in. The relocation of some of Beijing's government agencies and state-owned enterprises has begun in phases. Yet in many places, the streets are still empty, and the buildings are new but sparsely populated. This empty city phenomenon is not unexpected. The development of any planned city takes time. The Xiong'an Special Economic Zone was also ridiculed as a giant construction site in its early days, and the Pudong development faced similar doubts at its outset. Xiong'an's planning cycle is 30 years. Only 7 years have passed so far. The crucial question is whether Xiong'an can achieve sufficient population aggregation and industrial vitality within the next 10 years to transition from being policy-driven to market-driven. If successful, it will become a new paradigm for 21st century urban development. If it fails, it will become another expensive lesson. A civilizational choice. What kind of future do we want? The significance of Xiong'an far exceeds the success or failure of a single city. It represents humanity's bold exploration of future lifestyles. Can we escape the path dependency of industrial-era urban development? Can we find a balance between technology and nature, efficiency and humanity, development and sustainability? At a time when the world faces major challenges such as climate change, resource scarcity, and social inequality, Xiong'an offers a possible solution. It tells us that cities do not have to be concrete jungles, synonymous with pollution and congestion, or spaces of human alienation. Of course, whether the Xiong'an model can be replicated and promoted remains unknown. But at the very least, it has lit a beacon for the future of human urban civilization. In this era of uncertainty, what we need is precisely this kind of courage and imagination. The courage to tear down and rebuild, to redefine the meaning of home. The story of Xiong'an is still being written, and the future of human cities is still being explored. But one thing is certain: regardless of its success or failure, this experiment will profoundly impact our understanding of cities, of life, and of the future. In the long river of history, Xiong'an may become an important turning point for human urban civilization, a milestone marking the transition from the industrial age to an era of ecological intelligence. Time will be the ultimate judge, and we are all witnesses to this grand experiment.